La 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 la.
All right, so I'm gonna do like a quick little introduction. Get some Gatorade because I'm super thirsty. All right. Welcome, everybody, to this episode of the Geek Salad Podcast. This is episode number 26. We are joined by Britt, a.k.a. the slightly annoyed mixed chick, and we got a lot in store for you. We're going to talk a little Lil Nas X. We're going to talk about Godzilla versus King Kong, and also a mutual love that we actually have for the show Supernatural, man. So, Britt, thank you for being on. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you start? Well, first, what is it? Where did you get the name or the idea for Slightly Annoyed Mixed Chick? Like, how did that come about?
So I was, me and one of my best friends were talking, and I was like, hey, I want to start a blog. I was like, well, what should I call it? And she's like, well, you're angry. I was like, yeah. She's like, no, all the time. She was like, in your mix. So, and she gave me the name, and I was like, yeah, that sure as hell is me, because I am pissed off all the time about everything that's going on in the world. So I started a blog, and from the blog, I started a couple Instagrams, Slightly Annoyed Mixed Chick, and then my friend, she runs our 2.5 Black Women Instagram. And I recently dipped my toe into the YouTube foray, where people get to see me being pissed off, not just see my posts or see what I write. They get to see my face screaming and yelling and dropping F-bombs and, you know, shouting at the camera. So that's where it came from. It's just too much going on in the world. And last summer just is too much. I had to say something.
Okay. That's what's up. That's what's up, man. You're definitely very opinionated. That's something I've actually caught your show a couple of times. It's I respect that about you, because a lot of people have opinions, but they're scared to talk about it. Yeah, I won't put you in that category. But, you know what I'm saying? I won't put you in that category at all. That's what's up. Okay. So recently we had Godzilla versus King Kong come out, and I got to see it a couple of days ago. Let me tell you, initial thoughts wasn't bad, but I gotta be honest with you. I'm comparing every new movie I see to the Snyder cut of Justice League. You know what I'm saying? That might not be fair, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? You know what? It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. A lot better than I thought it was going to be. What were your initial thoughts on the movie?
Here's the problem. I compared it to Godzilla King of Monsters, which I just spent half the time with my mouth dropping open.
Yeah.
When Mothra showed up, I was like, Mothra! Oh my God! You know, and like this actor I absolutely hate took me out of it for a second. So when I saw, you know, Kong versus Godzilla, it was just, I thought it was too much. I thought it was too much storyline, too many things going on. You know, I was trying to tie too much shit together. You know, it's just too much. And my biggest issue with both of those damn movies is why, when they are in Antarctica, are they running around like it's spring in Minnesota? No one got frostbite. That little girl stood there for I don't know how long and got to a little pink nose and little pink cheeks, and that's all that happened. I checked the weather in Antarctica because it pissed me off. Right. -36 degrees. And you're telling me they can run around with no hats for like 10 minutes and nobody's cold? No, I'm sorry.
It's one of those things. You kind of got to suspend belief. Because it's okay, I agree with you on that. But then again, we're talking about a giant dinosaur creature that can shoot laser beams out his mouth, and then a giant gorilla. So, you know, this is the world that we're talking about, you know?
I can get into that. I can go, yeah, that's maybe possible. I'm like sucked into that. But when you throw something that you can't suspend disbelief on, that's where I was like, y'all need to get it together and understand the concept of actual weather. But I don't know. And Kong Skull Island, it was hard for me. I just think it's gone downhill a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think that each movie has gotten, significantly a little more chaotic, a little less believable, even though, once again, yes, a giant ape and a huge lizard monster that can shoot rays. But, it's still believable if you think that shit's possible.
Right? I mean, I guess so. But okay, so you know what? Here's the problem with the movie, I think. Anytime we're talking about a movie where the main focus of the movie or the main character is somebody that can't talk, that can't, act or do anything like that, you kind of got a challenge on your hands. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it has to be less about them at certain points in the movie and more so about the actual human actors at other parts of it. And I think in this one, man, it was kind of one note. You know what I'm saying? It was like you know what it reminded me of? I don't know if you remember that old, and I'm sure at my age, you remember that old Looney Tunes cartoon where it would be like a mouse in a house or whatever, right? And it did this. They did this on Looney Tunes and they did it on Tom and Jerry at different times because they saw Hanna-Barbera and Looney Tunes, Warner Bros. They always to bite each other. But anyway, so it'd be a mouse in the house, and the owner of the house would be like, "Hey, cat, do your job. Get rid of this mouse."
Yeah.
So the cat would like go and get like try to get the mouse, can't get the mouse. So the mouse would like hire a dog to beat up the cat. And then it's like, okay, so the cat, like, okay, it's the dog beating me up. So the dog goes and get like a lion to get the dog. And it's like, you know what I'm saying? This is big, like it just keeps escalating. So they got this giant ape on a boat, like, and they're gonna put him against Godzilla. And I'm thinking, this is the best y'all can come up with. Like, you got one big creature destroying cities, and blasting laser beams off, and your solution to that is let's go get this other creature that can also destroy the city to destroy. It's like I don't see what the logic is in that, but this Hollywood we're talking about. So
I was like, oh, Hong Kong is just leveled. Well, I guess we're gonna have to build from scratch because there was not one building they didn't step on, didn't fall into, didn't like. I was like, wow, that's a lot of dead people.
Yeah.
And when Godzilla, here's the thing. Godzilla all of a sudden is becoming more human-like. Like at some point, I don't know if you caught it, he smiled.
Yeah.
And I was like, did he just smile?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I get it with the ape. Yes, I totally get that. That makes sense. But now Godzilla can smile and he can, what next? He's going to start dancing?
I don't know. I put nothing past nobody these days, like not at all. It's kind of ridiculous, man. It's kind of ridiculous. That's why I didn't have any expectations going into the movie because what was the one before this? Was it Kong Skull Island?
No, it was Godzilla, King of Monsters, then Kong Skull Island.
Yeah. So that was the one that had what's the guy's name? Samuel Jackson in it, right?
Yes, that was Kong Skull Island. Yes,
I thought that was okay.
It was good.
I'm anything with Samuel Jackson, I'm gonna watch. Man.
Yes,
yeah, that's my guy. That is my guy.
It was good, and the one thing I'll give them is they consistently get really good actors, except for the dad in the last two movies. I forgot his name. He can't act for shit. He makes me so mad. He's so annoying. But like they have good actors, and the chick in Kong versus Godzilla, I kept wondering why I don't like her, and I remembered she was that bitch in Iron Man 3 that created that virus.
In Iron Man 3.
And I was like, that's why I don't like her, because she's shady as fuck. So it was hard for me to like feel for her.
Yeah. That is hilarious. So wait, so you holding it against her for something she did 2-3 movies ago? Really? That's what you do?
Yes.
Your petty level is on 9,000. I'm proud of you. That's okay. I'm with that. Why not? Right? Why not?
She did it to herself.
Oh, let me plug the brand real quick. This episode brought to you by the Charitable Tycoon. Our clothing line is dropping next month with a portion of each sale going to help a local charity in the Virginia area. Cool. All right, now that that's out the way. Okay, so overall, out of scale of 1 to 10, what do you say with Kong versus Godzilla? 1 to 10.
7.
Se-
And I'm being generous.
I was
7.
that's 7 is good though. That's pretty generous. I'm not. I can't. I'd say maybe like a 5, man. I can't front. Toward the end, I was falling asleep. I was like, okay, like I think the special effects were really good, but this
Yes.
whole the storyline of it, and the little girl teaches some sign language. I'm like, okay, which I mean, it's kind of possible. I think they have actually done that.
No, they have. Her name was Coco. The name of that,
right.
But right before she died or something, she said, "I love you" and some stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was some heartbreaking shit.
Yeah.
So I believe that. That I believe.
Right. But but she taught him sign language and nobody else knew about it. Also, Mother of the Year, you just let your little girl just be around this giant 50-foot ape. Come on, man. He could easily trip and crush her. Not even trying to do it. Come on. You gotta be better than that as a parent. Like, come on. Like, really? That's what you do? Come on, man.
And you know why she did that? Because she was a bitch in Iron Man 3 and she was evil. So she don't care about that kid because she's evil. Okay, I'm just letting you know.
Bam. You're not wrong, man. You are not wrong. So on another note. So okay, it's no real easy way to segue into it. So we're just gonna start talking about it, right? Okay. So last week, Lil Nas X, he puts out a video. He also comes out with some devilish shoes that supposedly have a drop of human blood in it. Don't know how true that is, whatever. Nike was more or less like, no, don't put us in the middle of this debate between, the alphabet community and Christians and all of that. We got nothing to do that. We're trying to sell shoes to both of y'all. So like, don't put us in the middle. So they're like suing him or something like that. But okay, tell me first, let's start off with the shoes. What do you think about the shoes and Lil Nas X?
I don't have a problem. Okay, here's the thing. I don't have a problem with the shoes. I don't have a problem with the controversy. I think Nike honestly is doing that because the old adage, even bad publicity is good publicity.
Mm-hmm.
It got them out there. I don't think they're really that mad. I mean, I think the shoes were fire. I think the concept was fire. I like the whole thing, and I think people are getting pissed off for stupid reasons.
Yeah.
So Nike, I don't think Nike really gives a shit. I don't think they're really the suit's gonna go through. It's gonna be dropped. There's some disclosed amount of $1.75, will be exchanged.
Something, right?
Right, that nobody knows about, and it just elongates it. Now everybody wants those shoes, and then Nike goes, "Oh, you know what? We'll make those shoes. We're gonna sell those shoes."
Mm-hmm.
I don't trust corporations.
Me neither. It's like corporations, they kind of have a history of maybe they're doing the right thing sometimes, but they do it for the wrong reasons. And it's all money motivated. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's to be ironically to play devil's advocate in this situation, we're talking about Nike. I see what they're saying though, because if you're a company and you're selling something that everybody wears, sneakers, you want to be as impartial as possible. You know what I'm saying? So just the same way if there was somebody, well, I'll take that back. I was about to say if somebody came out with some Jesus shoes, they did like a Jesus version of this shoe, Nike would say something. I don't think so. I think it's one of those things where there was such an uproar on the other side as far as people who were saying like, no, this is devil shoes, human blood, pentagram 666, this is too much, we don't rock with that. Nike saw that reaction and was like, we're going to distance ourselves from that. Because think about it like this, customizing sneakers, people have been doing that since the 80s. That's nothing new.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Once you buy the shoe, you own the shoe. You gonna tell me I can't sell it? So that part I don't agree with. I will say I don't play with nothing devilish, man. I don't. I believe in all of it. I think it's real. And I just don't think it's something to play with. You know what I'm saying? But that's me. That's my opinion.
Well, the way I look at it is, those who believe it, you're going to invite shit in if you're playing with it. Mm-hmm. For those who don't believe it, it doesn't matter because whatever. But those who believe, like you're not fucking with it because you believe. That makes sense. That absolutely makes sense to me. You know, I get that. I the other day I was telling my niece, I was like, hey, you want to do a Ouija board as a joke? She was like, oh no. I was like, oh, you don't want to do it? She's like, no. So I get that. She's not playing. I told her I was gonna give her one for Christmas. She said she's gonna cancel me as a whole human being. So, oh, bless you.
Thank you.
But
so my auntie is crazy. Like, I'm not messing with no Ouija board.
I mean, I don't know. I just, the uproar. It's just a video. I'm sorry. It's just a video. No one, well, did they freak out when, oh God, what's his name? The Marilyn Manson. People freaked out, but I don't even think they freaked out to this level and the shit he did.
It's kind of a different era, though. We're in the era of social media now, so stuff takes off like in 20 seconds now, you know. So I get what you're saying. It was definitely some people outraged over Marilyn Manson, and if you want to even go back further, you could say Ozzy Osbourne. He bit the head off like a bat or something, or a pigeon, or some shit
on stage.
Wow, that's some wild, crazy, coked out shit. You know what I'm saying?
There you go, coked out shit.
Coked out shit. I would say as far as the video, it's not my cup of tea. Not something that I would, endorse, but that's me. You know what I'm saying? Let me tell you where I'm at. And I'm so glad that the video came out last week, because I think it brought up something that needs to be talked about. You can both not necessarily be a champion of the LGBTQ plus community, but also love people, accept people, and not condemn them to hell. Because me personally, and I only speak for myself, like Geek Salad, that's a collective, you know what I'm saying? So I'm only speaking for ARye, I'm only speaking for myself. As a Christian, I don't support it because I think it is a sin, but, big but, cafeteria lady size but, so is having sex before marriage. That's also a sin. So is lying. That's a sin. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't get the same publicity. It doesn't create the same uproar, but it's all considered a sin. So, I mean, that's really a tenet of Christianity. Like, we all jacked up. We all sin. We all do stuff that we shouldn't be doing, but that's why we need a savior. You know what I'm saying? And it's not a popular stance to have, but what I don't like is when people are so quick to, oh, you a Christian? Okay, I'm gonna put you in this bucket with all of these radical people that are bullying, that are calling people, faggots. You know what I'm saying? It's, slurs to hurt people. Like, I got family members who are gay, and if anybody ever tried to make them feel away or tried to put their hands on them, like, you have to see me. You know what I'm saying? It's about, Christianity is supposed to be about love, but I think what you have is something where, when it gets in the hands of man, meaning mankind, it could be something that's beautiful and divine and great. But since we're all kind of broken in our own individual ways, you kind of skew it. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you got people. I'll never forget, I went to, I think it was a baseball game. It's a local baseball team in Norfolk called the Tidewater Tides. And when I came out, it was like this group of people, like 5 or 10 people. They had these signs saying God hates fags. And I'm like, that don't sound like the God that I know. You know what I'm saying? That's not the message. But see, people will fold us all in together because you do got some extremely crazy zealot Christians out there, or Christians in name. You know what I'm saying? And they put us all in the same category. We're not in the same category. I can not agree with what you're doing and still be your friend. I can still love you. Just the same, I would love somebody who may be having sex before marriage or tells a fib every now and then, what have you. But don't put us all together. The same way you shouldn't put all black people together, because you got some black people who are all about unity, all about, group economics and seeing us go forward as a people. But I know some people who are black who would literally kill their mother if the price was right. You know what I'm saying? But we all black. That's. That's me. So I'm just glad the dialogue is happening, man.
I do agree with that. I absolutely agree with you. It's, for me, I believe deeply in God.
Mhm.
Deeply. I don't believe in white Jesus, but I believe deeply in God.
Neither.
Like, don't get me started on white Jesus. But I have an atheist child, I have an agnostic child, and I have a uber Christian child. And I also have a child who's a member of the LGBTQ community.
Mhm.
So for me, people can think whatever they want. I'm not here to tell people you can't think your thoughts. You can't have your beliefs. If you want to believe in God, if you want to believe, you know, in Muhammad, if you want to believe in Bob walking down the street, you know, because Bob to you is what centers you, go for it. As long as you're not pushing that on other people and telling them they're wrong, you can think what you want, because sin has changed over the decades as far as Christianity is concerned, because sex before marriage now is frowned upon, but that used to get you in the stocks. You know,
True.
lying used to get you flogged. So Christianity changes just like humanity changes. You know, we are people, we change. And so I am glad that people are having this conversation, but I also think people are just automatically, without even watching the video, even having any open mind whatsoever, are condemning it simply because, well, my belief says this. Okay, well, your belief says that, and I understand that. But like you said, is that the Christian love you're extending? Or is that the hate that you feel in your heart? Because a lot of times I think Christians are more about hate than they are about love. They're more about, I don't like this, I don't like that. God says don't do this, God says don't do that. So I'm just going to throw you all away. Instead of, like you said, I may not agree with you, but I don't agree with my cousin when she yells too loud. I'm still going to love her, I'm still going to love you.
Right.
It's about what you put off on other people, and condemning him when people have done so many other things and coming out. And I'm sorry, the Black community, Christians have a tendency to do that. They dial in and they just go, no. And it's like, no. And
Right.
I just think we need to be more than that. Like you said, we're not a monolith. We are not a monolith at all. We are people like everyone else. That's the problem. I'm sorry, I don't mean to preach on the Black community, but the way society looks at the Black community is really fucked up, because one of us is literally responsible for all of us. So when one fucks up, they all decide that we're all just fuck ups, instead of looking at it as, yeah, you got Jeffrey Dahmer, he ate people. So should I decide that all white people eat people and are all serial killers and, you know, and all sleep with their mothers because some do somewhere? Like, no, we are people just like y'all are. We're different. We have different thoughts. We behave differently. We commit crimes. We don't commit crimes. You know, we're illiterate. We're illiterate. Don't assign the accountability for a whole community on one person's actions, and only when they fuck up, not when they do good.
Right.
Only a fuck up. And that pisses me off. And that's, to me, that's kind of the same thing. Don't jump on Lil Nas. You're assigning shit. Don't let him be him. You don't watch it then. Shit, don't watch. It's cool. My cousin's upset. She is upset about his video.
Let me say this one thing though. Not only do I get what you're saying, I agree with what you're saying, but I will say this about certain people being mad at Lil Nas X for this video. Lil Nas X did it on purpose to piss off certain people. So it's kind of, you know, having the effect that he wanted it to have. You know, like some people gonna love it, some people go like, you know, so, you know.
But that's why artists do what they do.
True.
They
For the
do
reaction.
it to elicit a response, and he got a response because people get sucked into that response. Like in the end, Lisa over there, who's hella pissed off about it, Lil Nas doesn't even know who you are. He woke up today and was not worried that you were mad about it, but he sure as shit was happy that everybody's talking about it. So you gave him exactly what he wanted in being angry. You know, your anger made his day. You know, that's why be apathetic if you don't like something and you want to make somebody feel bad. Just don't pay any attention. That's what fucks artists up.
Yeah, and I'm all about the love, man. I'm not gonna agree with everything, but you know, I'm all about the love. And you know, to be fair, you know, shout out to DMX, man. Hopefully he pulls through. I don't know. Did you hear about what happened? He had
it just popped up on my thing.
Yeah, he has like a. They're thinking it's an overdose, you know, and he's in the hospital right now in critical condition. So you know, hopefully he can pull through that. But we'll talk about him. I mean, I remember back in the 90s being in high school and he had a whole album cover with him in blood. He's bathed in blood. You know what I'm saying? You know, so this whole the devilish thing, you know what I'm saying? It's nothing new in music. You know, it's nothing music. Again, nothing new in music. Again, not my cup of tea. You know what I'm saying? Twerking on the devil. But okay, so this is I try to put myself. I try to be like this. I'm like, okay, what if would I feel the same way and not like in a video if it was like a sexy woman twerking on the devil? It's because again, like you said, not a monolith. We got with different parts. The part of me that is a Christian would still feel away because it's like, all right, this is evil. It's promoting evil. It's art. I get it, but at the same time, don't be playing with spiritual stuff because it is real, even though we can't see it. But you know, it's a lot of stuff you can't see that's real. You know, light waves, sound waves, you can't see it, but it's real. But then again, I probably would be a little bit, if I'm being honest, I probably would be a little bit more accepting in it because, okay, go away from the Christian side of me and let's get to the straight man side of me. Like, oh wow, she look all right. You know what I'm saying? So I might feel a little different about it, you know. But that's all part of being human.
So I'll ask all the people out there who are super upset about this, super upset. Were they this upset about the concept of tip drill? Or were they this upset, you know, about, you know, the girls in the videos? They weren't.
Nope.
But
Nelly, you remember Nelly slid the car to the girl butt crack?
Yes. And from what I know about Christianity, that's not how we're supposed to treat our women.
Facts.
Right. So it's about picking and choosing for a lot of people what's okay and what's not okay in their mind as far as Christianity is concerned. And that's why we have different versions of Christianity in this country. That's why we have extremes, we have more liberal. But when people get upset about one, I want to know, well, how did this make you feel? Because you didn't seem to be this pissed off when we objectify women consistently. You know, so why is it okay to treat women like literal objects, but it's not okay for him to, in a video, twerk on what is not the real, I'm sorry.
Twerking on the devil. I mean, he was
not the real devil, because no one got upset when I think it was Match or whatever did that commercial where that chick ended up matching with the devil. She was 2020, he was the devil, and because they got together, they created all the chaos. Everyone thought that shit was hysterical.
I mean, okay, I would say this too. This is part of it, because even though I'm definitely all about love. You know, let me say this though. This is one problem I do have with, again, it's not, I never paint with broad strokes, because I hate when people paint me with broad strokes. It's like I was talking about how people would put me as a Christian in the same category as, you know, those people that hate. Take me for what I am and take me where I'm at. Meaning, okay, there was this, it was a trans girl. I forgot what talk show she was on, but I was watching the show. She had a very interesting story. And, you know, she faced some discrimination, a trans woman, I should say. But at one point in the show, she was like, well, you know what? I think I'm beautiful. I'm like, okay, cool. You know, you think you're beautiful, you know, more power to you, whatever. But she was like, any man that's not attracted to me the same way he would be attracted to a woman who was born a woman is discriminating against me or discriminating against trans people. And I'm like, bitch, what? No, that makes zero sense. It's like you want others to accept you for you and for what the decisions that you've made, because you feel like you might have been born one way, but you've always felt differently on the inside. Cool. But don't demonize me because I have a preference of a woman who was born a woman as opposed to a woman who is now a woman but was born a man. I mean, and some guys who would even claim to be straight like that. Malik Yoba is one. You know what I'm saying? And cool, do what you want to do, but don't say I hate you or that I'm discriminating against you because I don't see you in the same way that I see a woman who was born a woman.
Okay. So let me ask you this.
Okay.
That is based upon you meet someone, you find them attractive, and then you find out that they're either post-op or pre-op transsexual, right?
Okay.
And then you go, that's not my bag. That's not my thing. And she's like, that's fucked up. You thought I was hot until you found out this about me. And you're like, I get that, but I don't fuck with that. I don't mess around like that. Okay, fine. Now, take me, for example. Some guy finds me cute because he thinks I'm Puerto Rican. And the minute which happens all the time, right? Yeah. People think I'm Puerto Rican. And when he tells me that, and I'm like, oh, no, I'm black. And he's like, ooh, I don't fuck around like that. How would that make you feel?
I hate that shit.
Right.
Personally, I hate that shit.
How different is it though? But how different? Honestly, how different? Because
it's different. Biologically speaking, it's different. So let's say
biology is a messy thing. It's not.
No, it's not. It's science. You know what I'm saying? It's funny because I'm a Christian, but I'm one of those Christians. I love science. That's why I got these nerdy glasses. I love Neil deGrasse Tyson is my dude. I love stuff, cosmos, science, all of this stuff. I still believe in God, but I love science. So if you can take religion out of it, you can take just preference of what you have, because you know you're a human going through this life, you develop preferences or whatever. Take all that out, because all of that is subjective. Science is objective. Science says you're a man because you're born with male genitalia. You have both testosterone and estrogen, but you have more testosterone than estrogen. Women born with reproductive organs, they both have testosterone and estrogen, but they have more estrogen than testosterone. That's just biology. Like that, all that can be proven in a lab. It's not an opinion. It's, you know.
Right. No, I get that. But what I'm saying is, for example, you can take women that have actually almost as much testosterone as they do estrogen. They have, you know, deeper voices, whatever, and you can take it on the other side, the transverse side, as far as, and I don't mean trans like trans, but I mean,
I know what you mean.
You're right.
Yeah.
And that's why I say it is messy. There is no this amount of estrogen and this amount of testosterone makes you something. This amount, you know, there's no definitive line. It is one, our child comes out, and for the most part, not all, they have either a penis or a vagina. Sometimes you have both, or right, you know, and that's a whole nother topic on how I think people should deal with that. But just because your child has a penis does not mean he doesn't have a shit ton of estrogen going on in him and he has low testosterone. You don't know that. The outside does not dictate the DNA. It does not dictate your level of testosterone, your level of estrogen. It doesn't dictate that. But we assume based upon the outside package what someone is on the inside. That's all I'm saying.
You're not wrong in that sense, but I would say it like this. I look at it like this. It's the same argument that people have, like, I can't believe I actually had this discussion with somebody, but I did. I feel dumber for having had this discussion. The lady was like, who was it? It was on one of my Instagram pages, right? It was a video, and it was this young lady, very pretty young lady, but she was, you know, she was overweight. You know what I'm saying? And she was like, yeah, sis, don't let them tell you that you need to lose weight and all of this type stuff, because I'm overweight, but I'm an Instagram model and I got professional athletes in my DMs all the time. You know, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, all right, cool. You know, this all good stuff. But then she was like, don't put that cheeseburger down, eat that cheeseburger. And I was like, okay, you had me. Everything was cool until you said that. I was like, I like the confidence. Very beautiful young woman. I think you should be positive about your body. But at the same time, we're not going to act like there haven't been numerous studies that have shown if you are overweight, especially if you're overweight to the point where you're obese, you're more likely to get certain diseases and ailments as you get older. That's not an opinion, that's scientific fact. So I was like, you know, you shouldn't be encouraging folks to eat that extra cheeseburger. You should be encouraging your folks to love yourself. But while you're loving yourself, go ahead and exercise. While you're loving yourself where you're at, go ahead and eat a salad. You know what I'm saying? And indulge every once in a while. Have you a cheat meal here and there, cool. You don't got to be no thick, skinny models. Shout out to the thick chicks. But at the same time, you know, it's not healthy. And oh my God, one girl just went off in the comments. She was like, how do you know? How are you commenting on her health? You're not her doctor, blah, blah, blah. You don't know this. I was like, okay. I was like, come on, sis. Like, you're smarter than this. Obviously, I don't know this girl. I'm not saying she's sick, she's well, anything. What I'm saying is this is not something that you should be doing. And eventually, it's not a question of if, it's a question of when. The number one killer of people in America is heart disease. It's not COVID, it's not murder, it's heart disease. And this is the stuff that gets you heart disease or whatever. And she was like, well, you don't know. So basically, long story short, she used the argument of, hey, I knew a person who smoked 10 packs of cigarettes a day and they lived to be 105 years old. I'm like, really? So yes, that 1 out of a million person can have lungs of titanium that can smoke 10 packs a day and still be, you know, healthy and live to a long, you know, high age, but 99% of people ain't gonna fall into that category. So, you know, I say all that to say, when you're talking about men and women, as far as at birth, most men are going to have these biological factors. Most women will have these biological factors in most cases. But you're right. There are cases where, you know, a child could be born with both reproductive organs. It could be a man child, but, you know, the testosterone levels are off. The same thing with women. And the estrogen levels could be off. You know what I'm saying? And it happens. But what I'm saying is most of the time, it's A, B, and C. Most of the time.
But what didn't you say you don't paint broad strokes? That's
What you
a very
mean?
broad stroke.
I mean, it's a broad, but it's the truth though. That's not an opinion. That's true.
It is as far as we know now.
Okay.
As far as we know now, this
Mhm.
is our reality. This is the way it is. So I'm not going to say you're wrong,
Okay.
but I'm going to say that everything is open for interpretation. Everything is also open to change, especially science, because science has changed since we first thought the earth was flat. And you flat earthers out there, get a fucking clue.
Kyrie Irving. Please. A clown for that one, man. He is a clown for that.
Like, science changes, like humanity changes. You know, it does. It absolutely does. So I love science.
Mm-hmm.
I just know that it is not infallible. I also know that data can change. And data can be manipulated. And I'm not saying that that's manipulated. What I'm saying is there's so many possibilities out there that I will accept my reality for now, but I also accept the fact that reality can change.
Let's flip it. Let's flip it over, right? Okay, so say it wasn't a trans woman, say it was a trans man, right? Mm-hmm. Still has all, you know, female genitalia or whatever. They just, you know, call me Bob now. It's not, you know, mm-hmm. Alicia no more. I'm Bob. Cool. If Bob were to talk to a girl at a bar, right? Mm-hmm. And the girl didn't realize that she was speaking to a biologically speaking, a woman. Mm-hmm. She thought that Bob was, you know, a man. Mm-hmm. Okay. But when it got down to it and they started really connecting, Bob tells the girl, you know what? I don't have a penis. You know, I got a vajayjay down there, right? Okay. And the girl was like, you know what? It's cool, you know, more power to you. But I like dick. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that girl would be wrong for that because the girl knows what she likes. You know, I think all you owe somebody is to be respectful.
That
love, but I'm not a villain because I don't find this attractive. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
I get that. No. My thing is, when you take those two situations you just gave me, the girl's gonna say, for the most part, for most women, that's not my bag. If that's not their thing, they're just gonna say it. They're gonna be whatever, and they're gonna leave. Men don't do that. They turn around and they assault people. Trans women are dying at a huge rate for a reason.
You're not wrong.
They are getting assaulted, and they're not getting assaulted by women. They're getting assaulted by men. Dude, unless someone physically touches you, you can walk away. You don't have to kill that woman. You don't have to beat that trans woman. That's something inside of you need to fucking work on. Because that shouldn't elicit a response where you physically assault and murder somebody.
I agree with you, but you know what? This is one thing. You're absolutely correct. And you shouldn't be putting your hands on somebody. But I will say this. There are some men who are not as savvy as other men when it comes to spotting a trans woman versus a woman who was born a woman, right? And you do have trans women who will not say anything until, stuff is getting hot and heavy with the guy.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, the guy's hand goes down her thigh and you feel this big old meat rod where you thought a vagina was going to be.
Yep.
And that's messed up. I'm not saying you should kill them, but I think if you are a trans woman, or even if you're a trans man, I think you have a responsibility to not possibly, I'm not saying you got to announce it as soon as you meet somebody, so you meet somebody at a bar, but I think you got a responsibility to let them know, like, listen, this is what you're getting into. This is me now, haven't always been like this. You know what I'm saying? I think that actually happens. I actually do know some trans women who have fooled some dudes. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that's an excuse for murder, but that's almost akin to rape, man. You know what I'm saying? It's almost akin to rape. So, and okay, let me tell you why I say that. There was, and me and my friend were talking about this terrible situation. I've never done it, but I do know people who have done it. In college, it's the star of the football team. He's like, they had a frat house, whatever. He's having sex with a girl, right? And I mean, he's going to town, right? Liquor's in the air. You're doing your whole wild college thing, right? He then wore her out to the point, you know how it is, like after sex. You have like some really vigorous sex. You kind of just wore her out to that point, right? The lights is off. He gets up. He tags his friend in. His friend has sex with a girl, right? That's rape. That's unless if she don't know, like that's rape. But what's the commonality between the two? The commonality is the person didn't know exactly who they were sleeping with. So what I'm saying is, if a guy picks up a trans woman at a bar not knowing, right, and they really start getting into it, and then all of a sudden, I don't know, she pulls the thing out. I don't know these things out. I don't know. That's if she was pulling the wool over his eyes, that's messed up. That's messed up, and it's akin to a sexual assault because you misrepresented yourself.
That. I will say sexual assault. I will go with that, but I won't go with rape unless there is a sexual act, and then you find out something like that's different. But I agree. I do. I think people have a responsibility. I think if it starts to feel like it's going to be a relationship, or it's going to be more. Or if it's about to be a physical, sexual deemed act, kissing, whatever, you do have a responsibility. One, for your own fucking safety. And two, because that other person does have a right to know. They do. I think when you don't, that's wrong. But with that said, no one has the right to kill somebody. Even if you put your hand down there and you grab the world's biggest penis you have ever felt in your entire life, you still don't have the right to kill somebody. You do have the right to get off.
Is that your clit? Why is your clit so big? It's huge. God damn. What's up? Yeah.
You have the right to get up. You have the right to leave. You can be as pissed off as you want. You want to be a dick. You want to yell names. You want to whatever. Okay, names, sticks and stones. You know, you do not have the right to assault somebody, and it goes both ways. Women
I was about to ask you that.
Right
Okay.
to assault men ever.
You're right. You're right. But hold on. Let me ask you this. Right. This is because listen, I'm all for, you know. Okay. Let's just play this whole thing out. So say I was single, meet a girl at the bar, thinking it's a girl. We both drunk. I didn't know. I didn't check in that. Whatever. It happens. Get back to my house. Say she blows me or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's revealed. Either she says it or like through other stuff, I find out it's a man, right? Mm-hmm. So say I'm pissed off, right? And I'm like, what the fuck? Like you misrepresented yourself, blah, 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 right? And a fight ensues, right? Now, let me ask you this. Is that the same thing as a man fighting a woman, or is that just two dudes scrapping? You see where I'm going with that? Like is that two guys, you know, duking it out, or is that a man beating on a woman? Which is it though?
It's a man beating on a woman.
Can't.
I'm sorry.
Can't get with you on it. I mean, that's your opinion. Cool.
Okay.
I can't.
So
I can't get with you on
so there's a weightlifter I follow.
Okay.
Female.
Mm-hmm.
Our version of a female is not what she looks like. Okay. For most people, she's big, then muscles, and she's like her thighs are like this.
Probably on steroids. It's very common in weightlifting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You get into a fight with her, you're still, regardless of how big or she is, she's still a woman. That person sees himself as a woman. And I can tell you that weightlifter's got way more testosterone than she's got estrogen right now.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
She's still a woman.
That's different. To me, that's different though.
But if a trans woman identifies as a woman, she's still a woman. But here's the thing. I don't think anybody should be beating on anybody for sexual acts.
No, you're right. No, the scenario is in her deceiving me, right? And me being upset on that, an argument ensues, and I'm chirping, and she's chirping. But I'm not saying, and I'm not promoting, you know, beating up trans women. I'm not promoting that. But what I'm saying is, even if we was talking about two straight guys, we have a disagreement. I start chirping at him, he started chirping back at me. A fight can happen, you know. I'm more so team, let's use our words instead of our fists. If I'm using my fists, you're gonna know that my life was in danger, or you was trying to hurt my kids or something like that. I'm Mr. You know, use your words. But not everybody is like me. Some people rather throw fists than to use words. So if you got two men and that could happen, the same thing could happen in that scenario that I was describing, where it's a trans woman and it's a man. To me, I don't look at it like a man beating a woman. I'm looking at it like two dudes going at it. Let me tell you why. Because even if you consider yourself a woman, cool. Biologically speaking, you still a man, dude. Meaning you got your man strength. Like this whole you a woman.
Estrogen, all that. It really depends. But I have a question for you then. You're at a club.
Okay.
I mean, not anymore with your old ass, but you're at a club.
I go sometimes. Okay. Every once in a while.
By 10, don't lie. It's too loud in here.
Right. You can't talk to people.
It's so expensive.
Yeah, I can drink at my house for free. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is some bullshit. Like, got it. Like, yeah, that's me. You put the nail right on the head. Forget the club, okay?
So you're at a club.
Okay.
You're leaving.
Right.
And you're with your boys. There's another group of dudes. And you know how guys get. And a fight ensues. And you start scrapping with the dude.
Right.
You guys all get arrested, whatever. When you're released, you and a dude fought, right? You fought a dude.
Right.
7 months later, you find out that dude was a pre-op transsexual.
Okay.
Did you still fight a dude?
No, you fought a woman.
But for 7 months.
You thought it was a dude.
Right,
but,
exactly. That it's about perception. It's about perception, because for 7 months, if you beat his ass, you're like, I beat that dude's ass.
Yeah.
You're not like, I beat that possible woman/man's ass.
Yeah, if I thought it was a dude, I'm gonna say I beat that dude's ass.
It's
Yeah.
about perception. It's about perception. It's about what you know and you don't know. Because let's go back to the 20s when people looked lighter than me and had straighter hair and they passed for white.
Paper bag test, all of that stuff. Yeah.
It's about perception.
Okay.
In the end, our world is about perception. It's not about the biology or the reality. It is about perception. You thought for 7 months you beat a dude's ass. You told all your friends you beat his ass. You told him you whooped him. You kicked his ass. He cried. You were like, haha, little bitch, right? 7 months.
Right. Okay. But then, okay, so then when it came out, it would be like, hey, Chris, hey, it turns out that big old man you thought you jacked up, it was a woman. I'm like, word? I'm like, okay, well, I beat a woman. I didn't know it was a woman at the time, but I did. But I'm not gonna be bragging about it after that. After the truth comes, I'm not gonna be bragging about it. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so I could agree with you. Let me tell you this. I could get with what you're saying if there was no difference between men and women, strength-wise, speed-wise. It is a clear difference. It's the reason there's a WNBA and an NBA. Because if you take the best WNBA players and put them up against 6'8" dudes, they can't compete. Even though they're great at basketball. Like any one WNBA player, I'm not embarrassed to say, will whip my ass in basketball. In fact, we don't even gotta have it be a sport. They could it's women I know that could whip my ass in fighting. I don't want no pieces of Layla Ali. Layla Ali, I'm 98% sure she will whip my ass. She's a woman, but she's a trained ass fighter. Like that's what she does for a living. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't even feel bad about getting beat up by Layla Ali. I'm gonna be honest with you. But you take the average man and you take the average woman, the average man is gonna be stronger than the average woman. And that's just the way it is. So that's part of the reason.
Yeah.
Huh? On average, right? Yeah, on average, right? But that's part of the reason why they say a man, it's not cool to beat on women and put your hands on women, because the strength difference, it's not a fair fight. It's the reason, even if we're talking about just men, it's the reason why in boxing you got weight classes, because it's not fair to put Mike Tyson versus what's the dude's name? Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather's a great fighter, but Mike Tyson is 250 and he knocked giants out for a living. I mean, he routinely knocked out dudes who were 6'8", 300-pound trained fighters, and Mike Tyson would just get in there and knock them. They was unconscious before they hit the mat. So it's not fair to put him in the ring against somebody that's 5'6", 150 pounds. They both men, but it don't equal out. So that's why it's not cool to put your hands on women, man. Like, I don't respect, dudes who do put their hands on women unless she got a gun or a knife. That's different. And I teach my boys the same thing. You don't hit women. You don't put your hands on women. But if your life is threatened, meaning she got a knife and she's, coming at you, that's not the time for chivalry. Well, that's different.
That's self-preservation.
Right.
No, I'm not gonna let someone stab me just because they're smaller than me or they're whatever than me.
Right.
Okay, yeah. I guess I gotta die.
Can't hit women. You got me again.
Right. Like a woman stabbing a man, it's not gentle and ding, 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 ding. Yeah. No, she can go in just as hard as anyone else.
Kill you. Yes, exactly.
No, absolutely. That's about self-preservation. But I will say this as far, yes, it is absolutely wrong for a man to put his hands on a woman. I 100% agree. From personal experience, I know it's wrong because of psychological effects. With that said, we don't talk enough in this community about men who are being beaten.
Oh, it happens. It happens more. Men get beat on more than women get beat on. But it's part of this whole thing. It's the same thing. I don't know if you remember that movie. Who was in it? It was J-Lo, something else. Anyway, it was the strippers, and they were like drugging the guys and robbing them. That stuff happens all the time. It don't get reported that much because dudes be embarrassed. You took 3 girls home from the club, and then all of a sudden, you know, you got a dildo in your butt and your wallet is missing. It's like you're not gonna call the police. Most dudes ain't gonna call the police. Forget that. I'm calling the cops, man. I want my stuff back. You know, forget being embarrassed. Give me my stuff back. But it's an ego thing. You know, it's the male ego. Like a lot of guys, you know, unfortunately too get raped, but they don't report it. They don't report it because it's kind of embarrassing to guys. You know,
if you don't want to have sex with somebody and they force you to, I don't care what gender you are. I don't care what gender you were. I don't care. That's rape. If someone forces you to have sex in any way, shape, or form, whether it's a woman forcing a man or a man forcing a woman. But I do know the reason things don't go reported is because there's nothing more fragile than a male ego.
Stop.
It's
No.
true. Man,
okay.
Like, I'm willing to go tell because I want my shit and I'm not worried about being embarrassed. But the man's ego is exceptionally fragile. But there's a reason. There's a reason for that.
Okay.
It's because how we raise our boys. They can't feel, they can't cry, they can't show emotions. You create these young men that have they're not in touch with their emotional side. And when things hit their emotional side, since they have no idea how to handle emotion, it's going to come out some way. So it's not like, I don't think it's a man's fault so much. It is when you're an adult, you're responsible for the shit you do. But adults are responsible for the children that they raise, because those children become adults in the world. We need to stop telling our young boys, don't cry, you're a man. Don't do this, you're a man. Because then later they get out in the world and they're like, why are they so angry? Why are men so this? Why don't men do that? Because they were told from jump, they're not allowed to do those things. It's okay. It's okay if a boy cries, just like a girl cries. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to hurt. No, it's okay. It's okay.
I don't completely disagree with you. I would say more so than not, because I got 3 boys myself, right? And I've had these conversations. It's less just toxic masculinity, and don't get me wrong, there is a lot of that, but it's less that, and I think it's more so on some fathers don't have emotional intelligence. So I teach my boys to have emotional intelligence. It's okay if a girl breaks your heart. It's okay to cry sometimes, but at the same time, son, you a man. You don't be moping around crying. Like, don't let your sadness turn into depression. You know what I'm saying? Do this. Do things you love. Talk to people. It's okay to talk to me. It's okay to seek professional help. That's all cool. But at the same time, as a man, I'm raising them to be eventual leaders of their own house. So as a leader, you can't afford to just be like, you know what? I don't feel like leading today. I'm going to just go and be sad and eat ice cream all day. Like, that's not okay. So it's like teaching your kids emotional intelligence and how to balance out being a strong leader with also you being human and you having feelings. And sometimes you feel like laughing, sometimes you feel like crying. It's okay to acknowledge those feelings, but at the same time, you got to instill in them how to be strong, because as a man, especially as a Black man in America, you can't afford to be weak, man. If the shit went down tomorrow, and I don't think it's going to happen, but shit, who knows? We live in a crazy world. If the shit went down tomorrow and a race war broke out, don't get it twisted. We're still the minority. You know what I'm saying? There's a way more white people in this country than Black folks, right? It's not an opinion. That's facts, right? You got to be able to, aside from your feelings, still be able to operate. Aside from your feelings, still be able to execute. And that's not always an easy thing to do, but I think it's very important and a very important tool for our young men to have.
So, not to plug my stuff, but
plug your shit, please.
I just recorded 2 videos today, and they'll be out probably tomorrow and Monday. And it's about the school to prison pipeline. And it's about how this country actually treats young Black males as older than they are, to the point where they are judged 4.5 years older than their chronological age. And the fact that when Black males turn 10, they are treated as adults. They lose their innocence in the eyes of the police and a large portion of white society. So I completely get where you're coming. Believe me, I am all about, I was raised by a single father. My mother died when I was 5. You know, I was raised by a big Black man. So I'm really dialed into how this country fails our Black men consistently, fails them, then demonizes them. And I get what you're saying about being a leader, being, I don't know if I exactly agree with the head of the household thing, but that's fine. Hey, you know what?
I didn't even say hey. I said leader.
You said in the household too, but if people are happy in their homes and they're happy with the dynamic they have, more power to them. I have no right to judge, but I agree with you. But the same can be said for women. We can't mire in our sadness all day. We got shit to do too.
I agree.
We got worlds to conquer. We've got fucking companies to run. We've got children to raise. And yes, depression is real. And all those things are absolutely real. But unfortunately, being Black in this country does not allow you to cry all day. It just doesn't. We don't get to do what white society gets to do. We don't get to carry our way through the world. We don't get to have the benefit of white tears. We don't get to have the benefit of anything white. We have to be, my dad used to tell me all the time, you have to be 3 times everything of a white person to be seen as equal.
Facts.
Right? So yes, you are absolutely correct. You are absolutely correct. That is how I raised my son. He's in the Army now, you know, and my son was raised to love and care and be in one with his emotions. But my son also understood when it was time to step up, it was time to step up. But with that, that's why people need a community behind them. So when they are tired, when they are exhausted, when they can't step up, you got anybody to step up in your place until you can get your shit together real quick. That's what community is. That's what the Black community, when my dad was growing up was, when I was young was. He would walk down the street, see another Black guy, and they do this. And I'd be like,
it's the head nod.
Dad, you know him? No, I don't know him. But it was that. Right. And that's what the Black community, that's what white supremacy keeps fucking tearing down. I'm sorry. Don't get me started on white supremacy and the white.
Tell them why you the slightly annoyed mixed chick. Let them know, Britt. Let them know.
Everything in this country is based upon white supremacy and the white power structure. Literally motherfucking everything. Everything. And we buy into it because we don't know any better and we don't know any different. And I don't mean just Black people, I mean fucking everybody. White people they don't even realize. And that's why when you tell them shit, they're like, no, that's wrong.
You know
because
why?
Deep inside of them, you're pulling their power away. And they don't like that.
Right.
At all. This is some bullshit, how we're supposed to look. The fact that in fucking states, jobs can fire you for the hair that grows out of your fucking head. The hair that grows out of your fucking head. Don't tell me that's not motherfucking white supremacy. We're not talking about blue hair, green hair, purple hair. We're talking about the kinky, coily hair that grows out of your fucking head. And if they have decided, your boss or that company decides that it's too kinky, it's too coily, it's too big, it's too something, you can be fired? Wonder why it's usually Black people. I don't know. White supremacy. Fuck the way this world is built. We can change it, but sometimes you got to tear some shit down and then rebuild some shit.
It's one of those things. It's going to be hard to do, and part of the reason it's hard to, you know what, it's not said often that I think people lose sight of. It's like you hear it all the time on the news. This minority group, that minority group, but you never hear about the majority. And the reason you don't hear about it is because those people who are, to for lack of a better word, woke to it. And I don't mean just woke to the struggle of Black people. I mean everybody that just has a understanding of the dynamic of America and the way culturally it's set up. It's a European country. It's a white majority country. So it's the same, no different for me as a Black man. If I was to go to China and start, you know, kind of like maybe disrespecting their culture or, you know, start, you know, and I get some backlash for that. And I wonder, like, why they don't embrace me? Why is it Negro, you're you're in their country. That's a Chinese dominated country. 99% of the people there are Chinese. So they got their own culture, their own norms. They got it's Chinese dominant because that's what's over there. It's the same thing in this country. But since we're kind of like the world's melting pot, you know, there's a lot of different groups here, but don't get it twisted as far as what group still has the majority numbers wise, you know. So it is what it is. It is what it is.
Alexa, shut up.
What Alexa over there talking about? What's happening?
She just piped up for a second.
What happened? What's going on? Did somebody say white folks? I like white people. What's going on?
No, they're at my door now.
They coming to get you, Britt. They coming to get you for speaking the truth.
Forget. That's what's going on with my channel.
Right. Oh, tell the people where they can see your channel.
So my YouTube channel is Slightly Annoyed Mixed Chick. My Instagram is Slightly Annoyed Mixed Chick. My blog is Slightly Annoyed Mixed Chick. Pretty much if you type in Slightly Annoyed Mixed Chick, you're gonna get whatever.
Got you.
Yes. Yes.
Yo, this is a dope discussion. Full disclosure, I knew that this is where, just having seen your show a couple of times, I was like, yo, we're gonna end up talking about some stuff. We'll get into some meaty topics, man. So hold on, I'm doing it. Some meaty topics. Like, we're gonna be talking about some stuff. It's gonna be a dope discussion. I already knew it, Britt. I got a sixth sense about these things. So, yo, thank you for being on. But look, before you go though, we got to talk about Supernatural because we both love the show Supernatural. Britt showed me some dope Supernatural toys that she got. Britt, yo, put them on the camera, man. Let the people see these. She got the Castiel with the wings on it and whatnot. What else you got? The Impala. See, this is what I'm talking about, man. This is what Geek Salad is all about. We talk social issues, but at our heart, we just love, like, you know, super fiction, science fiction, supernatural stuff, and the show Supernatural, man. Yo, they were talking about, I don't know if it might have been a run up to an April Fool's joke, but I heard that they might actually come back and do like one more season.
What are they gonna do? They have done absolutely.
They didn't beat God. Like, after you beat God, like, what else is there to do? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't know.
They beat death. They beat God. You know, they beat the devil. They've beaten everybody. There's no one left. There's nothing left to do. Bring back Crowley. That's all I have to say. Because Crowley
was good. I was so mad when it was like, when he died. I figured that was like the last bit of that season, whatever season that was. He died like the last episode. No, was it the first episode of the next season that Crowley died?
I can't remember.
It was part of the storyline where they were going to like an alternate dimension to fight Michael, and Michael.
Yes,
that's when Michael was black. And Michael killed Crowley. I don't know if that was like the season finale of one or it was the beginning of the next season. But anyway, Crowley died.
The next season,
I think so too. And I was like, all right, he dead, but he gonna be back somehow.
Right.
Came back.
They brought fucking Bobby back.
Yeah, but you knew they was gonna bring Bobby back. You had to bring Bob back, man.
But
you idiot. You know what I'm saying?
The shit.
Yeah. Crowley was a dope character, man. The dope character. I don't know. Maybe it was just one of those things where the actor just wanted to leave the show or whatever. It could have been something like that.
What's your favorite episode?
Favorite episode of? Oh my God, it's so many. Give me yours first, because I know you told me you got a top 10 and everything. So I know you know what's your favorite. What's your favorite?
My
episode?
2 favorites. Oh, my 3 favorites.
Okay.
The Bad Day one where they kept repeating Dean kept dying.
Yeah.
Fucking hysterical. I love it when they do the comedic turns. When the guy threw that fucking cursed coin into the fountain, and like the teddy bear was swearing and watching porn.
Hilarious.
Loved that one. And this one's kind of old, but it was when the very first time they met the trickster.
Okay.
And it was like alien abductions, and you know, the chick who supposedly died in the college. That one. Those are my favorites. I love the trickster. Was always good. He was always good. I love those.
Did it turn out like he was like actually a god or something like that?
Yeah, he was one of the gods, and he was hiding.
Oh no, was he? Oh, was he a god? Was he an angel?
No.
He's an angel. That's what it was. They revealed he was an angel.
Hiding from everybody. He was hiding as a god.
That's what it was.
Yes.
Oh my God. Speaking of which, we'll get right back to Supernatural. Let me just ask you this real quick. Have you seen the show American Gods?
Yes, and I stopped watching.
Why? Why did you stop watching?
Because they got rid of Anansi.
Oh, is that Orlando Bloom?
Yep.
Not Orlando Bloom. Orlando Jones. Jones. Yeah. I was mad. That's why I haven't started watching this season yet. I have not started watching this season. He definitely made me want to watch the show because it's one of those things. The show, it just keeps kind of egging you on without giving you as much as I think they should be giving you. I don't know. I have a weird relationship with that show, but I'm like 2 seasons invested, so I'm probably eventually going to start watching it again just to get caught up. But it's not. I'm not pressed to watch. Huh?
It's canceled.
Oh, they canceled it?
Mm-hmm.
Did not know that. Wow.
Yeah, they canceled it. They're talking about possibly Netflix or something like that, maybe picking it up, but they did cancel it. This is the last season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always thought they could have did better with the story, you know?
Yes, it kind of lost me after a while. Like the first season was fire. When we met Anansi, I was crying when they
cried. What happened? At what point was you crying? Like
because
what?
when they introduced him, it was on a slave ship.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
And he was talking to the guy, and the guy eventually broke free and threw himself in the water to die rather than be a slave.
Right.
I cried, but it was so good. And I started watching the second season, and I was just like,
something ain't the same, you know.
Yeah, it's not the same. And I'm like, I guess it was. Sometimes some shows, the first season will just suck you in, and then you get to the second season, you're like, yeah, I'm all good. I can watch something
like I'm
else.
done. I'm done. Yo, side note, just to piggyback on what we was talking about earlier, the creators of the show definitely wanted to. They got a little freedom because it's on I think it was on Stars. That was a Showtime.
No, maybe Stars. Either Cinemax.
One of those non-HBO, but kind of like HBO stations or whatever. They was like, oh snap! Because both of the creators of the show are gay, so they was like, we want to. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
I don't know, it was the first episode or it was somewhere in the first season. When I tell you, it was the longest gay sex scene of all time. Like me and my cousin talk about it to this day. We was like, okay, do you like somebody is gonna love that? Cool, whatever. But no, it lasted like 8 minutes, and I was just like, yo, that's not my cup of tea. So when I saw they want this kids, they was really getting into it. I like kind of just got on my phone a little bit. I'm like, all right, I don't really want to see that for real. But then I looked back up 4 minutes later, and it was still. I was like, "Wow, they're really going for like." And this is for all the gay. This is for all the gay people. I was like, "Damn!" It was like long. It was like 10 minutes, man. Whatever, do your thing. All right, so back to Supernatural though. My favorite episode. I got 2. One for the comedic part because they like to at least a couple of times a season do a comedic episode. The joint where they did Scooby-Doo. You remember that one?
Yes.
That was so dope to me because that's my childhood. Even though Scooby-Doo actually originally came out in the 60s, I was catching the reruns in the 80s and I loved it. Scooby-Doo was my shit. You know what I'm saying? It got so bad to the point where when I turned 16, got my license, when I had the Scooby-Doo seatbelt thing, I had Scooby-Doo floor mats in my car. I had a Scooby-Doo steering wheel cover. And my cousin, he used to drive with me like, bro, you got all of this Scooby-Doo shit in your car. We're not about to get no girls.
That's what I was about to say.
I was like, nah, girls love Scooby-Doo, baby. They love Scooby. Like, bro, like you know what I'm saying? Like they love Scooby, man. I got
They're like, I'm good.
nope. I got compliments from girls. All the nerdy girls wanted to be in my car in high school. It is what it is. But that was my favorite episode on the comedic side. On the more serious side, whichever episode it was for I'm about to call him Stan for some reason. Sam, he had the mark of Cain, and remember he got like that blade from Cain, and he was fighting with Cain. I just thought that was so dope. I always thought it was cool when they would incorporate like biblical elements, because these are like stories I coming up in a Christian house, like I would hear these stories all the time. So it's like kind of bringing it into modern day. I always thought was pretty dope. But when he had that mark, man, he had that I think it was like some kind of jawbone of an animal or something, but it was like kind of shaped into like a blade, and he could like take anybody out. Oh my God, I love that. I love that, because I always thought that they should have some type of powers. Like if you think about it, on the 15 season run that show had, Sam and Dean both at different times have had some kind of superpower. You know what I'm saying? Multiple times, but they end up losing it for whatever reason. So when we had that mark, and he was killing demons. I think he almost killed an angel one time. I was just like, yo, that's dope. That was dope. That was my favorite. That was my favorite episode with that. But it's off the air now. I actually started back watching it from episode 1, and I'm like on like I think the start of season 2 now. So
Really?
Yeah, we're gonna see.
They were such babies. If you
they look completely different. It's crazy.
They're little babies.
Yeah.
Tiny children.
They even sound different. Like
Yes.
Dean sounds completely different if you go back and listen to it from like the first season. Nah, Sam sounds completely different. Like he doesn't sound anything like he does, toward the end, which is wild.
Well, that's age. I mean, age will fuck you up.
It will though, right? I get better with age though, man. I like it.
Uh-huh.
I love it.
Sure.
I love it. Hey, listen, it is what it is, man. I get that like a fine wine, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, thank you for being on the show. Slightly Annoyed Mixed Chick. You can catch her on YouTube and Instagram. Just exactly how it sounds. Slightly Annoyed Mixed Chick. Want to thank you for being on the show. Again, this is the Geek Salad Podcast, episode number 26. You can follow us at Geek Salad now, and you can follow myself at ARye the King. I don't know where G is at. I think G is on vacation. I think he said he was like in Miami or something, man. I'm like, yo, this is not the time to really be going to Miami. But, it is what it is. I kind of want to go myself, but, Have you got your vaccine yet?
I'm scheduled next week.
Okay. I haven't got mine yet, but I'm going to be getting that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But just because you get your vaccine doesn't mean you should go meet Florida man.
Florida. Oh, wait a minute. You watch Atlanta?
No.
No, that was Gator. That was Gator. Gator Man. It's a show called Atlanta with Donald Glover in it, and actually
Yes, I know the show.
Yeah. You haven't seen it?
No.
Love
but
the show.
I will tell you this: take your birthday.
Okay.
And do a Google search with it and put in Florida man.
Oh, I've done that. That. It's the craziest stuff. That is the craziest state in America. It's like not even up for debate. The craziest state in America. It's always something happening in Florida, man. Crazy people. I think it's the swamps, man. The swamps to be messing with people's heads. I don't know. Like it's wild.
Thank you so much for having me on here. I was like nervous. I was like, okay, I'm ready. Let's go.
Nah, man. We just some geeks that like talking about stuff, man. But yeah, thanks for being on. Yo, check her out, y'all. Till next time.